Hello, Internet, and welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Let's recap the University of Utah at Baylor and also talk about their upcoming game with the Weber State Wildcats.
If you are part of the 95% of our audience that is not subscribed, please consider doing so. Thank you. But first, before we get into content, let's go ahead and quickly recap our giveaway. Once this channel is monetized, we're going to be giving away $500 to 5 subscribers. That's right. Each subscriber will get $100 that we're going to give away once this channel is monetized. So please make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned for more information. All right. So let's go ahead and first talk a little bit let's talk about the University of Utah.
Yeah, man. It's been quite the week for the Utes. That was a scary game there at Baylor.
Yes, it was. Once again, the Utah defense really holding it down, keeping Baylor scoreless in the second half to basically keep Utah in it.
The Utah offense in this Baylor game struggled is the understatement of the century for that game, dude. You guys saw it. We saw it. I was sincerely concerned that the Utes that Kyle Whittingham and company were never going to take Bryson Barnes out of the game and actually give the Utes a chance to win.
Yeah, I think that was a little bit of foreshadowing there when the first offensive play of the game was offsides call. Sorry, delay game penalty right out the gates. That's not a good sign. So that was a little bit of foreshadowing there. But, how much of that, let me ask you that, how much of that do you think that's Bryson Barnes, or how much of that is just first game being on the road jitters for this season?
I mean, I think a lot of it probably is like on the road jitters. Baylor is a big time stadium. There's a ton of people. That place was packed. It was really, really hot. But that was a big time environment for Bryson Barnes, who, I mean, he's played some big games. He's been in the Rose Bowl, but like a big time road game like that, to be the starter, to have all the pressure in the world, have everybody talking about you. I am not sure that he was exactly ready for that moment.
No, I'd have to agree. He went 6 for 19 for 71 yards passing. He did throw a pick.
He did throw. I mean, his QBR in that game finished out at 8.9.
That's not good, right?
No, that's not good at all. No, you should be up in the 90s.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about the Utah defense. Let's shift back to that for a second, then we'll get into the offense in the second half.
Okay.
So the Utes do hold Baylor scoreless, and not only in the first quarter, but also in the second half completely. They did not pick up even a field goal in the second half at all. And I do believe that it's the defense that were the keys to this, to them winning the game, with getting two key interceptions, basically down the stretch in the second half to really kind of turn this game around.
Yeah, I mean, the defense is, it's said all the time, but that's the identity of this Utah football team. They hang their hat on being able to get a stop when they need one, shutting down the run game, being locked down on the corners, forcing you into really tough positions where you have to, I mean, you've got to burn them. You know what I mean? Like that's you might see a couple breakups in coverage, but if you're not willing to take that pass and throw it over top of their heads, you're not going to beat this Utah football team.
No.
And you saw that, like you absolutely saw that in this football game.
Yeah, which is really odd because it's tell a few tapes on Utah's defense. This between Florida and Baylor, you had 5 sacks in the Florida game, no sacks in the Baylor game. Yet I'd have to say that there was just as much of just as impressive on the defensive end against Baylor, keeping them from scoring in the second half, than they were in the first week against Florida. What do you think?
I totally agree. There was a ton of effort on the defensive side of the ball. That Baylor offensive line, they came out with a purpose, though. Mm-hmm. I mean, those guys were holding their blocks. They were trying to give Sawyer Robertson as much time as they could for him to have, to make his reads and be like, their run attack was really clobbering the Utes in the beginning of the game. I mean, they were picking up 7-8 yards every rush, and I was worried they just weren't going to stop. Like, I think some of the things that actually helped the Utes in that game is they decided to let Sawyer Robertson start throwing the football. Right. So, when he goes 12 for 28, which is very substandard for a Division I quarterback, but I mean, you're facing a really, really tough, obviously, Utah defense. But I mean, he does throw for 218 yards in this game, so you're not going to be upset about. Yeah, on 12 passes to throw 218 yards is pretty impressive. So he did a really good job, honestly, of getting the ball down the field. I mean, he took advantage of some of the Utes' mistakes, and his O-line held up and continued to give him an opportunity to be successful. But that D-line was sending a ton of pressure, and I really liked that they continued to be aggressive and kind of getting after him. They didn't get any sacks, but they were after him the whole night. Yeah. I would have to say my player of the game would definitely be Cole Bishop. With that interception, with the defense continuing to pressure the quarterback all game long. Cole stayed, out in no man's land there. Watched the quarterback see where he was throwing and then just went after it and got it. Like he was,
I just think that was the play of the game, in my opinion, for sure.
Yep, I agree. And then, I mean, to flip over to the offensive side of the ball for Utah, I really like Jaquindon Jackson. I mean, he kind of had a breakout game. He rushed 129 yards on 19 carries. He looked at times just unstoppable, like a man amongst boys. I mean, he was running people over. I'm really, really excited about Jaquindon Jackson here in the future.
Oh yeah, they really did take advantage of this kind of soft coverage that Baylor had. On Utah.
Yep.
It's almost they were playing to not get hit with the big play.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they were doing.
Yeah, and that's just not how you. I mean, when you have a 3rd and 6 and you're converting that on a run play, Utah's going to feel pretty good about their running game.
Absolutely. I mean, Nate Johnson was obviously the star of this game. He was the hero that we needed in that moment. We just needed anybody to come in with a little bit of confidence, and that's really what I think Bryson Barnes missed, was just confidence. But Nate Johnson, I mean, they turned at the end of the game over to him and said, "Okay, Nate, we need 6." You know?
Oh yeah.
And he came in, went 6 for 7 on that drive, drove him pretty much all the way up the field, and put it in the end zone.
Yeah, the story was about with 10 minutes left in the game, Cam Rising went over to him, put his arm around him, said, "You're not coming out of this game. The rest of the game is yours." You know, and then they scored twice in the last 2 minutes of the game, which is fantastic. Nate Johnson did go 6 for 7 for a total of 82 yards, 6 carries for a total of 45 yards. So 184 total rushing yards. Not perfect performance by Nate, but, you know, pretty damn near perfect final drive of the game, you know, to get past for his touchdown run. So,
yep, I think Nate Johnson's just a big time rhythm player, and he's exactly what the Utes are going to need if Cam Rising's not able to go against Weber State. So, speaking about Weber State, let's talk about the upcoming game this week, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
They're the number 7 ranked team in the FCS rankings. They're 2-0 so far. They've got wins against Central Washington and Northern Iowa. I watched some tape on these guys. They are a good football team. I mean, by the FCS standard, they're very good. Their quarterback, Kylan Weiser, has 23 completions and 43 attempts. He's thrown for 295 yards in their 2 games, thrown 2 touchdowns, only had 1 interception. Their running back, Damon Bankston, is very, very tough. He's got 263 yards in 2 games. He was just named the Big Sky Player of the Week, so dude can play. They've also got a wide receiver, Jalen Record. Dude's only 5'8", which is not a very big person, but he's got 73 yards on 3 catches only, and he'd had a fantastic touchdown catch against Central Washington that is like arguably like play of the year stuff, dude. It was insane. This is one of those games that's a scheduled win for Utah. They're going to be very much overmatched with athleticism when it comes to playing this really big, really talented University of Utah team. These guys have absolutely nothing to lose on the football field. They come in and upset number 12 Utah. Yeah, they've got nothing to lose. Is it realistic? Probably not. I bet you the Utes are favored by 20 or 21 points in this game. So I had to see the opening line.
They don't release lines against them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, FBS versus FCS schools, they don't release the line.
Okay, that would actually make sense.
So, which explains why I couldn't find any. So, by the way, I would like to call back to the Baylor game. I would like to say that I called the line and I called the over-under. My score was almost bang on.
Yeah.
And I also did call the under. So,
you did. Nailed it. You nailed it. That was pretty good, actually. You nailed it right on.
DNA Sports Recap, first try.
Yep. First try every time.
You guys got to come to us, man. We do not give betting advice.
No, well,
we definitely do not give.
We try not to. Please.
We will state our opinion, and that is it.
That is all our opinion is.
Let's also talk a little bit about this game, what it means. Like we were talking a little about before the show about this type of game, and that we really need to kind of enjoy these games while they still last. I mean, this is going to be huge for Weber State to have this kind of game, because in a couple of years, when the inevitability of college football going the way it's going to go, you're not going to see Power 5 teams playing FCS schools anymore. And this major payday that Weber State's going to get out of this game, they're not going to see going forward. These games are going to go away. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a good thing for college football fans, because you want to see teams lining up with teams that match their ability level every single week. But I think it also kind of ruins some of these lower level, like it helps the Weber State University to come down to Utah and get that payday and continue to fund a football program that's growing, that is obviously a lower level, but those guys are giving student athletes an opportunity to earn a degree and continue to move on, in life. So I don't know. I understand that college football is a business and it's geared around making money, but I don't like all of it.
Yeah, me either.
So
I don't like it, but on the same time, does it really impact you, the fan? Probably not.
No.
We want to know what you think, folks. Make sure you leave us a comment down below. Let us know what you were looking forward to in this week when it comes to Utah versus Weber State. We did mention last week on the previous episode what we would like to see come out of this game. I would like to see, if Cam Rising is healthy, I would like to see him maybe play the first quarter just to get some game time speed reps and then yank him out of there and let Nate Johnson have the rest of the snaps for the remainder of the game.
Yep.
Maybe get Bryson Barnes in there a little bit to try and get the bad taste out of his mouth.
Yeah, absolutely. Once this game's, we're up 40 points, Bryson Barnes can come back in and throw the football around all he wants.
There you go. In the comments down below, what you're looking forward to this week. And we'll go from there.
Absolutely.
All right.
Set change.
Anything else?
That's what I got, man.
All right.
If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like it. Make sure you share. Make sure you subscribe. We got the giveaway. We're looking forward to giving that money away.
Absolutely. And again, folks, if you're watching this on YouTube, keep in mind the full episode is available as a podcast. You'll see it on that side. Well, we'll link to the full podcast series so you can watch this episode in its entirety. If you're listening to this as a podcast, make sure you rate, and review. And we are available wherever you find your podcasts. Once again, folks, thank you for tuning in. My name is Darren. That is AJ. And this has been the DNA Sports Recap.
Till next time.